Good evening. You're watching the Sounds of Oman television. First, the headlines. The teaching staff starts the new academic year 2020-2021 amid precautionary measures to limit the spread of COVID-19. The intensive care units in the Sultanate hospitals record the highest level of occupancy since the start of the pandemic, with 200 cases. And the UN says Yemen's warring sides agreed to exchange more than 1,000 prisoners, marking the first phase of the release plan. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. The teaching staff started the new academic year 2020-2021 amid precautionary measures to limit the spread of COVID-19. The teachers will start to prepare the schools to receive students on the 1st of November in exceptional academic year, which will depend on blended learning. The Ministry of Education issued a document including the health procedures in a school environment to prevent the spread of COVID-19 in schools. The number of faculty staff in the Sultanate is more than 56,000, according to the statistics of 2019. The intensive care unit ICU in the Sultanate's hospitals recorded the highest level of occupancy since the start of the pandemic, with 200 cases. The Ministry of Health announced today that the total number of registered infections with the coronavirus in the Sultanate is 97,450, and those recovering is 87,801, bringing the recovery rate to 90%, and the number of deaths reached 909. The ministry stated that the number of inpatients during the past 24 hours was 63, bringing the total number of hospitalized patients to 523 and 200 in ICU, intensive care units. A media campaign on spreading awareness related to COVID-19 has been commended by the public. We have a report on that.
The virus continues to spread in other parts of the globe. Here in the Sultanate, the statistics have shown a rise in number of new cases. People in Oman have stayed connected to learn about new developments on COVID-19 through the Sultanate of Oman television, radio and other media in the country, including newspapers.
We are very happy with the media in the Sultanate as we get all information on COVID-19. One of the most important things is to follow all preventive measures to stay safe and healthy.
All the information we got from the TV and radio and newspapers. You know, all the basic preventive methods we apply in our life, washing a hand and wearing the mask and the social distance you have to keep.
The message that has come from the Supreme Committee through official media, television and the radio, as well as the newspapers, indicates clearly that people are not following the precautionary measures. So we need to prevent unnecessary gathering and keep washing our hands with soap and water frequently, wearing masks and observe physical distancing.
People have taken it very easy, so the number of the disease is increasing. So they have to stick with the distance, and they have to wear a mask and wash their hand.
I'm an Irish citizen. I've been living in Oman for over 10 years. While back in Ireland, I did observe that Oman, the airport had been closed, fully closed, just for maybe one or two special flights. Across Europe, that was not the case. Airports had been left open, and basically now they can see now the increase in cases.
Over the last few weeks, there have also been a number of important developments in the search for a COVID-19 vaccine. Today, vaccine candidates have been selected by the Ministry of Health with the hope that one or more of these will prove to be effective. But then again, it is well understood that the priority will be for the frontline healthcare staff and police. Keeping people well informed is part of media's mission, so let's use information received by being vigilant in following preventive measures to avoid the second wave of infection. WHO has indicated that it is very likely that the coronavirus would have killed 2 million by the time vaccine is ready. Hence, what remains to be the best is wearing the masks, frequently washing of hands with soap and water, and social distancing. So let's all adhere to these important preventive steps to be free from coronavirus. Abdullah bin Ahmed al-Rubai, Sultanate of Oman Television, Muscat.
The novel coronavirus has killed at least 998,463 people since the outbreak emerged in China last December. At least 32,000 or 32.91 million cases of coronavirus have been registered. Of these, at least 22.57 million are now considered recovered. The United States is the worst hit country with 204,499 deaths from 7.1 million cases. After the US, the hardest hit countries are Brazil with 141,406 deaths, India with 94,503, Mexico 76,243, and the United Kingdom with 41,971 deaths. Europe recorded 229,771 deaths, Asia 134,217, Middle East 44,280, and Africa 35,022 deaths. The United Nations said Yemen's warring sides agreed today to exchange more than 1,000 prisoners, marking the first phase of a release plan reached earlier this year. The UN mission in Yemen said the internationally recognized government that was driven from the capital 6 years ago and the Houthi rebels agreed to immediately release a first group of 1,081 conflict-related detainees and prisoners in accordance with a list of agreed-upon names. The prisoner swap deal was seen as a breakthrough during 2018 peace talks in Sweden. Both parties agreed then to several confidence-building measures, including a ceasefire in a strategic port city of Hodeidah. Implementation of the tentative peace then, however, stumbled amid ongoing military offensives and distrust between the two sides. The UN said today's deal came as the conclusion of a week-long meeting in Gleon, Switzerland, that was co-chaired by UN Special Envoy for Yemen, Martin Griffiths' office, and the International Committee of the Red Cross. Representatives from the Saudi-led coalition were also attended. The European Union called today for a halt to fighting between Armenian and Azerbaijan separatists over the Nagorno-Karabakh region and an immediate return to negotiations. The worst clashes since 2016 broke out today between arch-foes Azerbaijan and Armenia, which have been locked for decades in a territorial dispute over the Armenian-backed breakaway region. EU Foreign Policy Chief Joseph Borrell stressed the urgency of relaunching negotiations of Nagorno-Karabakh under the auspices of the so-called Minsk Group, led by France, Russia, and the United States. A major conflict between Azerbaijan and Armenia could draw in top regional players, Russia and Turkey. The conflict over Nagorno-Karabakh has been fueling regional tensions for 30 years. Ethnic Armenian separatists seized the region from Baku in 1990s war that claimed 30,000 lives. Since then, the Azerbaijani authorities have sought to regain control of it by force if necessary. Still to come, a news bulletin. Robots are busy keeping London train stations free of coronavirus by disinfecting the premises with ultraviolet lights. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman Television. The Sultanate celebrated today the World Tourism Day, which came this year under the theme Tourism and Rural Development. In this regard, the Minister of Heritage and Tourism revealed the development of 14 tourist complexes in various governorates around the Sultanate, and more details in the following report.
Tourism is among the most sectors affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, as travel restrictions have led to an unprecedented decrease in the number of tourists around the world, which has led to various economic losses in this sector. In light of the crisis of coronavirus, countries of the world are undergoing critical times. Thus, governments are aspiring to boost recovering from the effects of this pandemic via enhancing tourism as a vital means of integration and empowerment, highlighting the important role that tourism plays in preserving heritage, besides being a major source for the world's economic and social growth. In this regard, the Ministry of Heritage and Tourism prepared a comprehensive report on the expected economic impacts of the pandemic on the tourism sector in the Sultanate, as well as coordinating with the Supreme Committee on COVID-19 to implement a number of measures, such as reopening tourism activities over stages, preparing preventive measures guide for hotel establishments, in conjunction with the resumption of international flights in October and the gradual influx of tourists. It is worth noting that Oman Tourism Strategy aims to increase the sector's contribution to the GDP through offering investment opportunities, developing a number of tourist complexes in various governorates around the Sultanate, tourism promotion, and providing a number of facilities and incentives in this sector. For the Sultanate of Oman Television, Saleh bin Khalfan al-Rahbi.
The Muwasalat company started the buses service between the wilayas, excluding the routes of Muscat Salalah and Muscat Dubai until further notice. It's expected that the service will return gradually amid precautionary measures that ensure the safety of all passengers on the buses. The safety instructions include wearing face masks and sitting on seats specified for keeping physical distance among the passengers. Oman Air, the national carrier of the Sultanate of Oman, will return to scheduled service on 1st of October with flights to 18 cities in 12 countries, including 2 flights per week connecting Muscat and Dubai, along with 2 flights per week connecting Muscat and Doha. All flights will depart and arrive on Sunday and Thursdays. More details in the following report.
Oman Air will maintain its comprehensive safety program throughout all elements of the travel journey to ensure that guests fly confidently. Masks are required when guests are on board the aircraft and in Oman's airports. Distancing is maintained while guests board and exit the aircraft, which are carefully cleaned after each flight and at the end of every day. Cabin crew all wear a full set of personal protective equipment. Meal service has been modified to further ensure safety, and a number of other steps have been taken to ensure that the airline's guests and crew are safe at all times. Guests who are planning to travel to Muscat should visit the Civil Aviation Authority website. Guests traveling to Dubai or Doha should ensure they are aware of official requirements to enter or transit through those nations. Guests departing from Oman should also ensure that they are aware of all pre-departure requirements and during their flights, which are provided at Oman Air website. Abdullah bin Ahmed Al-Rubai, Sultanate of Oman Television, Muscat.
Muscat securities market began its weekly session with a slight regression amid the continued fluctuation in performance of global markets. MCM is expecting the announcement of companies of their financial data for the third quarter of this year. More details in the following report.
Muscat securities market recently has been showing a fluctuating performance amid the absence of stimulants and positive news from companies. Adding to that, the current period is one where companies would be expecting their financial data for the third quarter of this year, and investors are showing fear and hesitation due to those results, caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. Even after the opening and resuming operation of many commercial and economic activities in all sectors. Oil prices have also been fluctuating due to the lack of demand, and the recovery of global economies have slowed down due to the continued rise of new coronavirus cases and the lack of clarity for the existence of a vaccine as of yet. Economy experts are saying that stock markets' performance will continue at this level until the availability of a cure for this pandemic, and until the announcement of the results of the US elections in November. Stock markets are still facing pressure, especially after the confirmation by officials in the US Federal Reserve Board for the necessity of the Congress's approval of a new round of federal stimulus.
In celebration of the World Tourism Day, the Omani Student Society of Victoria in Australia, or SSV, held a campaign to promote tourism in the Sultanate of Oman. More in the following report.
The Omani students travel thousands of miles to acquire knowledge with diligence and perseverance. Their greatest motivation stems from their homeland. In every step they take, they behold their beloved Oman with its majestic mountains, pristine beaches, and its great, long-standing history. With pride, they present the Omani hospitality and kindness to the communities in which they live. Hence, and in celebration of the World Tourism Day, the Omani Student Society of Victoria in Australia held a campaign to promote for tourism in Oman.
Why Oman is an event that's organized by the Omani Student Society in Victoria, which focuses on the International Tourism Day, starting from 24th of September over a period of 5 days. The aim of this event is to show the Omani identity by involving the Omani society and the students who are studying abroad. Also to achieve the goals of Oman Vision 2040. Our message is to be ambassadors of the Omani tourism abroad.
As an organizer of this initiative, we aspire to improve Oman tourism and find solutions to boost our tourism. In order to use our geographic location efficiently, the revival of the tourism sector means reviving Oman's economy in the future. We also aspire to make the Omani identity internationally known for its security and charming nature, as it's one of our obligations as international students.
As part of their intensive preparations for this campaign, the students documented and made videos about the most prominent touristic and cultural attractions in the Sultanate. However, due to the restrictions of the public gatherings in light of COVID-19 pandemic, the enthusiastic students used social networks to conduct their campaign, which witnessed a notable interaction and attracted a wide audience.
It's great that Oman is being promoted as an important touristic destination because it has all the magic that makes a holiday complete. I invite all of you that have never visited Oman, and also those that have visited Oman, to return, to come back, and to experience the magic that this country has to offer. Come and swim with the turtles in the sea. Come and experience the campfire at the late night. Come and drink karak tea in the early morning. Come and meet the locals, the kindness that they have in their hearts and in their welcoming to all people from all cultures and from all backgrounds. You are all welcome to come and experience the beauty of Oman.
Oman. my new love. What can I say about Oman? Everything was different. When I came out, I looked at the city. I was aware that I was not in Australia anymore. It was absolutely beautiful. The mosque was sensational. But just the people, the men wore dresses, the women wore dresses. I thought that was beautiful. The food was delicious. The friendship, the kindness was just unexpected, actually. I always felt safe. And when I traveled, it was the same feeling. We went to a beautiful oasis in the mountains and there was just water running and bees buzzing and green, and it was so beautiful.
It is worth mentioning that the publications of the campaign focused on three main themes, highlighting the touristic sites, presenting the impressions and experiences of the visitors to the Sultanate, and reviewing ways to develop tourism. For the Sultanate of Oman Television, Saleh bin Khalfan al-Rahbi.
And finally, in London, autonomous robots are disinfecting train stations with ultraviolet light to kill coronavirus. More in the following report.
Robots that can kill the coronavirus with ultraviolet light have been brought in at one of London's biggest train stations, Street Bancross International, as it tries to restore customer confidence in the safety of travel hubs. Stations suffered a blow on September 23rd when Prime Minister Boris Johnson told people to work from home again where possible, and also ordered restaurants to close early to tackle a second wave of COVID-19 infections.
So in the present climate, it's quite difficult to keep this station clean at high touchpoint areas. So what the new technology will allow us to do is have our staff focusing on the high touchpoints so that the automatic machines can then go and clean the mundane areas, and that allows us to ensure that we're doing exactly what we need to do in the current climate. So the robots work by moving into a room and automatically mapping out a room and then undertaking a route round the room. That's the most effective cleaning and quick and effective routes for disinfecting the either room or area that they're in.
Street Bancross International saw 34.6 million entries and exits in the year to March 2019, the most recently available yearly data from the Office of Rail and Road, making it the 9th busiest station in the country. The office had said the pandemic caused a dramatic fall in rail usage. The robots use ultraviolet light to sweep large areas without the need for chemical disinfectant, according to the station, adding that the technology could kill nearly 100% of bacteria and viruses, including the coronavirus, on surfaces and in the surrounding air in minutes.
The main thing for us is to get the confidence of customers. We are the first train station to bring this type of technology in because we want to allow people to use our train station with confidence, use our retail units with confidence, and slowly get back to a normal way.
Street Bancross International is the terminus of the Eurostar link to Paris, Brussels and Amsterdam, and also shares links to 6 London Underground lines with neighbouring King's Cross station.
You're watching the Sultan of Oman Television. Before tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. The teaching staff starts the new academic year 2020-2021 amid precautionary measures to limit the spread of coronavirus. The intensive care units in the Sultan's hospital record the highest level of occupancy since the start of the pandemic with 200 cases. And the UN says Yemen's warring sides agreed to exchange more than 1,000 prisoners, marking the first phase of the release plan. And that's the end of the news from all of us here in the newsroom and the studios. Thanks for your time. Good night.